Hey everybody, welcome to your Saturday morning daily dose of the Morning Mojo. I know you probably thought because I was in Colorado that you weren't going to hear from me, but you were wrong. Even all these beautiful mountains and all the hiking and climbing we've been doing, I still can't help but think about you guys back in Chicago. Why? Because I may be slightly obsessed. We'll get back to that in just a minute. So first thing I want to say is it was a bit of a slow week. I think we only got 2 on the board this week. Personally, I'm blaming my absence or speciality, whichever way you want to go on that one. I don't care, but I'm sure that we're geared up for a big weekend. Don't forget, John's on today, as in John Speciale, and I'll be on call tomorrow. So I will be back in town and ready to go. But without further ado, let's talk about a little training piece today. I've been reading a book, actually rereading a book, and it's called Be Obsessed or Be Average. And the interesting premise of this book, and I know some of you guys have probably heard me talk about it because I find it just incredibly interesting, is the idea that being obsessed has a very negative kind of connotation in our culture. It assumes that you're, by being single-mindedly focused on something, that somehow or another you're less of a person. Or maybe you have some kind of psychological disorder, or there's something wrong with you. Everybody believes we should just be, how I think of the Romans or something like that back in the day, and how they were, men sought to be great at everything. But that's not the world we live in today. Today, specialization is the key. Becoming great at a craft is the key. And as we talked about a couple weeks ago, when you look at that curve from good to great, making it through the dip, greatness up here is specialization. You can't be great at everything. But here's the thing, here's the key. You can be great at a couple things if you choose what those things are and you maintain an almost obsessive amount of focus and attention on them. Now here's the key. When it comes to this job, being a general sales manager, I'm obsessed with it. There's a reason I'm doing a video on the side of Beaver Mountain with Longs Peak in the background here today, right? And making my parents and my son stand around and watch this, right? I'm obsessed with giving this team every tool it needs to become successful. And that's training, that's managing, that's making sure the administrative things are in line, right? Because I'm obsessed with this job. What else am I obsessed with? I'm obsessed with my family. I'm out here with my family this morning. I've been out here for 4 or 5 days, hanging out, spending time together, very little electronics, just I'm obsessed with my family. And I tend to be, maybe a little bit less today, but I tend to be generally obsessed with my health. And at different points in my life, that looks like different things. In the past, one of the things I was obsessed with was climbing mountains. So the mountain you actually see behind me, which is Long Peak back here, that was one of the first mountains I ever climbed, and one of the hardest. My first couple goes at it, I didn't even make it. Me and my dad had to retreat off of it a couple times, but eventually we climbed it. Why? Because, quite honestly, I was obsessed. But it wasn't the mountains I was totally obsessed with. It was the health and the challenge of it. More recently, I was obsessed with biking. So I keep a pretty simple life. I don't get obsessed with music. I don't get obsessed with TV. I don't get obsessed with sports. My goodness, my friends who do that fantasy stuff. I mean, obsession would be an understatement, right? I don't get obsessed with like going out drinking with my friends. I choose to be obsessed with a very few things so I can hypothetically become great at them. When it comes to mountaineering, I've climbed all 58,000, 14,000 foot peaks in Colorado, right? Because I was obsessed with it and all the health benefits that came along with it. Just like my bike riding, right? So the key here is, guys, obsession is a good thing if you choose your obsessions. If you're obsessed with watching TV, if you're obsessed with The Bachelorette, let's say, I mean, if you chose that, if that's like where you sit back in life and go, you know what, the best thing for me as a human being is to watch The Bachelorette. And so I choose to be obsessed with that. I can't imagine many people saying that, but maybe that's your deal. Fine, if it's your choice. But what most people do is they find that they are obsessed not by what they want, but by what the world wants, right? The reason people are obsessed with news and TV and music for the most part is because there's a lot of people out there who do really great marketing that want you to be obsessed with it so they can take your attention, your focus, and your resources. There's a reason people are obsessed with Facebook and social media. It's because all it does is exist to take your attentional resources away from you, right? Choose your obsessions. I choose mine. I don't do Facebook, right? I choose to be obsessed with this job. I choose to be obsessed with my family. I choose to be obsessed with my health, right? And then the other things, I will just dabble in, right? So what are your obsessions? And more importantly, what are you choosing to be obsessed with? Make those choices. Figure out who you are, what you want to be obsessed with, and then go after those. And all the other stuff, push it aside. Get rid of it. Just like we talked about with the dip, when I said people should quit more things. You find yourself in the dip on things and you don't have a lot of passion for what you're doing, stop it. Go find something else to be obsessed with. If you just look at this job and say, I'm not all that obsessed with sales, with real estate, blah, 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 I would challenge you to say, you're going to struggle to be the type of professional that you see on our team from the people that are really experienced, the Libby Perrys and the Lories and the Bonnies and the K-Palm and Christines and Nancys and Michaels of the world that have been doing this for 20 years. Those people, talk to them. They're kind of obsessed with this stuff. So choose your obsession and then choose to be successful with those. With that being said, we need to have a huge weekend, right? Today, tomorrow, it needs to be massive. We need about, and I'm just calculating quick here, about 8 cells. Now we got that last weekend, so there's no reason we can't get that this weekend. So without further ado, take it in for a minute here and say good luck and good selling.